this movie we're going to create stairs in 3D Studio Max. Now Max 6 provides ready-made stairs which are of several types. For example, if I go to stairs here, I can create an L-type stair like this, and straight stairs, spiral stairs, and U-type stairs. Now these are good and all, but the problem is that they don't allow for much in the design process, so you are stuck with these bulky shapes. If I go to modify, select one of them, I can change some options, but basically you're going to always be left with the basic appearance of your stairs. So you cannot design the handrail, for example, nor you can create noses for the steps. So what we're going to do in this exercise is create straight stairs which have our own custom design, and it's going to be much better than the ones that are provided by Max 6. So let's delete those, and I'm going to go to my top view, create, I'll choose box, and I'll create my box like so. Now the dimensions of my box are as follows. They are 200 in length, 30 in width, and 17 in height. Now of course you can customize these to whichever values you like, but for this exercise I'm going to use these values. Okay, now I'm going to go to my front view and I'm going to click on rectangle, and I'll create a rectangle. Now this rectangle is going to be 3 in length and 33 in width. Now I'm going to choose snap to grid points and vertex. In this case I would need 3D snap, and I'll take this vertex and place it down here. Alright, now what I want to do with this is take this vertex and place it over here. So I'll do that in the top view. I'll zoom over and I'll take this vertex and place it down here. Now I need to fillet out the front side of this rectangle. So I'm going to convert it to an editable spline by right clicking, and then I'm going to select these two vertices and I'll scroll down and fillet them to the maximum value like so. So this is going to be the nose of my step. Now I'm going to extrude this, so I'll choose modifiers, mesh editing, extrude, and I'll extrude by -200. So now I have the geometry for my first step. Next I want to create my handrails, and for that I'm going to go to my top view, create again, and I'm going to choose sphere, and I'll create my sphere over here. Now the sphere has to be placed midway between the two ends of the step, so that would be x is equal to -15, because my step is 30 centimeters in width. Alright, so I'm going to move this up like so. Now I'm going to increase the hemisphere value so that I can cut through my sphere and lower it down, and this is what I end up with. Now to exactly position the sphere over my step, what I'm going to do is set the snap type to vertex and to edge. So I'll take that vertex and move it up to hit the edge of the step, and now it's perfectly placed into position. Alright, having done that, I want to create the actual metallic handrail. So I'm going to switch to my left view, which is where I see the front side of my step, and this is my 1 meter mark. So I'll click on line and I'll start my line over here and go up like this. Now I'll go to vertex, select all my vertices, right click and choose Bezier. The reason I did that is because whenever I choose Bezier, I can change the curvature of each of the vertices independently of the other. Okay, now this looks too big, so I'll move it sideways and move this one too, and adjust the position of the handles to have a nice curvature for my handrail. Okay, this one a little bit too. Alright, so that's it. Now I'm gonna move this again to an x value of -15. So I'll type here -15, and it's going to fit perfectly into place. Now I'll select it again and go to modify, go to rendering, choose renderable and display render mesh. I'll set the thickness to 2. Now, having a thickness of 2, this hemisphere value is too small now, so I'm going to increase the radius a little bit, and I would still have to lower it down into place. Okay, so this looks better. Now I'm going to create a sphere over here to finish my design. Okay, now I'm going to set the radius of the sphere to 2.5. Again, I'll select it and set the X value to -15. So now I have one handrail ready. Now it's time for me to create the materials. So I'll press M on the keyboard. I'll get a standard material, and I'm going to select the metallic parts of my handrail, which are these, and I'll create a new material called metal handrail. And I'm going to assign this material to those objects. Now under shader basic parameters, I'm going to select metal, and I'm going to change the diffuse color to something like light brown, which is going to be a golden material in a second. Okay, and I'm going to increase the specular level and the glossiness. I'm going to move them upwards right now, increase the values up, but I don't know how much I'm going to increase them until I test render and see the result. Alright, now every metallic surface reflects the environment, and since I don't have anything in the environment to reflect right now, I'm going to assign a reflection map. So I'll go down to maps and reflection. I'm going to click on bitmap, and I'll select this map. Okay, let's try chromic here. I'll press open. Now if I look over here, I will see that I'm starting to get a metallic surface. I'll go to parent, and I'll play around with the specular level now and the glossiness, and I'll also play around with the level of reflection, which is set to 100 by default. I'm going to set it down to a value of 60, and I'm going to blur this map so that it's not so visible inside my reflection. So I'm going to go to the chromic map here, and I'm going to increase the blur offset to a value of 0.05. Okay, so that will give me a blurry map. I also need to create a roughness for this metallic surface, because I don't want it to be perfectly smooth, and that's created using the bump map. So I'll go to bump, click on noise. Alright, so this deformed my surface just a little bit. What I'm going to do now is set it to fractal and reduce the size to a value of 4. And then I'm going to go to parent, and I'll reduce the bump amount to a value of 10, and that will give me a roughened metallic surface. Okay, good. So let's test render this. I'm going to click on the render button from here, and there's my metallic surface. Now, what I want to do is mirror this to the other side. So I'll select just the metallic parts, and I'm going to go to world, and I'll choose transform coordinate system, and I'll click on mirror, and I'm going to mirror in the y-axis and choose instance. I'll press OK. So now I have this. Okay, perfect fit. Now I'm going to create materials for the top and for the base of the step. I'll start with the base. I'll select it and press M on the keyboard again. This time I'm going to choose a material from the material library that gets installed with Max. So I'll click on get material, and I'll click on material library. Here I can select one of the many materials that come with Max. I'm going to go down and choose tan carpet under fabric, and I'll assign it to my object. Now here I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to test render to see if the tiling is right. I'm going to see that the tiling is wrong here. So I'll go to my material, click on the diffuse map, and I'm going to increase the tiling to say 6 and render. Okay, so this gives me a beautiful tiling over here, and I'll repeat the same process for the upper part. So I'm going to select it, choose a new material slot, get material, and this time I'm going to select fabric blue carpet, and again I'm going to assign, zoom over, and test render. Okay, now the map also needs to be tiled, so I'll go in and increase the tiling, say to 3, and test render. Okay, now the tiling should be increased in the V value instead of the U value, so I'll type 4 here, render. Okay, I'm starting to get a better result. I'm going to increase both now, so I'm going to go 2 in U and 8 in V. Okay, much better. So now my materials are ready to go. Let's have a render of the whole thing. Very nice. Clear contrast between the metallic surfaces and the fabric surfaces. Okay, so now that I have my step ready, I'm going to select all of it and I'm going to group it. And I'm going to call the group step. Now I'm going to switch to my front view, which is here. Set the snap to vertex and grid point. I'm going to grab this point down here, this vertex, press shift and go up like that. I'm going to choose instance so that all the steps will have the same changes applied to them, and I'm going to set number of copies to 9, so that would leave me with a total of 10 steps. Okay, so this is my straight stair now. Okay, very nice. Alright, next we have to create the connecting part between the different handrails, and for that I'm going to go to my front view, and here I'm going to create this part going across the spheres. So I'm going to go to create lines, and I'm going to snap to that vertex here, and I'm going to zoom out so that I can go down and snap to that one here. Right click to finish. Now this is positioned here in the center, so I have to move it in the y-axis to place it exactly at the center of the sphere. Now I can snap this from the front view, from the left view. So I'm going to zoom over, and I'll take this and make sure that X is active here. Okay, zoom over and take it and place it over here exactly. Okay, so I have a perfect fit over here, so I'm going to give it the same metallic material as the others. Okay, let's see if we can give it a bigger radius. So I'm going to go to modify, increase the thickness up to 3. Yeah, this is much better. Alright, now I'm going to make a copy. I'm going to note this value here, which is the Y value, select it and copy it. I'm not going to copy the minus sign. I'm going to press Ctrl V, create an instance, and here I'll give it the positive sign of this Y value, and this will take it exactly to the opposite side. Alright, so let's render this. Beautiful. Alright, now I need to create the support for the stair. So I'll zoom out from the front view, and here I'm going to go back to create line, and I'll set the snap type to vertex. Okay, so I'll start here. Now before I start, I need to uncheck renderable and display render mesh, because I'm going to extrude this, so it doesn't make any sense to make them renderable. Okay, so I'll click and keep going until I've finished all the way through the highest step. Okay, here I have to press I on the keyboard to pan. Now here I will go down, zoom out, press shift to keep a straight line, and I would close it like this. Now this vertex needs to be properly positioned here because I did not check snap to grid points. So I'm gonna click on vertex and set the Z value to 0. Alright, so if you look at this, it's not bad. What I'm gonna do now is choose modifiers, mesh editing, and extrude. Now set the extrusion amount again to 200, and I'll move it in the Z and the Y axis to a value of 100, because the width of my stairs is 200. Okay, so there I have my perfect looking stairs with a design handrail. All I need to do is create a material for this, and I'm going to actually assign the same material as the other objects, as the base of the steps. Now, one problem would arise, and that's the tiling on this object here. So I need to fix this problem. I have small tiles here and big tiles there. To solve the problem, it's very easy actually. All I have to do is choose modifiers, UV coordinates and UVW map. I'll choose box. Now, if I increase the U tile and V tile, say to 3 by 3 here, and render, I'll see that I'm tiling further my texture onto the object. Let's go by 10 to 10, and now I have a beautiful, perfect tiling alignment between my objects. So there I have it. This is my straight stairs. The next move we're going to create spiral stairs.